Hi, my name is Molly, and today I'm going to review the famous speech known as The Evil Empire by President Ronald Reagan. On March 8, 1983, Reagan spoke in Orlando, Florida. This was the first time that the world had heard the term the evil empire. In a world of constant change, good and bad, the President of the United States spoke of the changes our nation was undergoing. Ronald Reagan spoke of the evil empire in which temptation and desperation is present. From nuclear freeze to war to prayer in schools to abortion and discrimination, Reagan spoke of the negative changes in our world, which still exist today. In the spring of 1982, the president had already began to feel his reign, and for the first draft of his address to the British Parliament, labeled the Soviet Union as the world's focus of evil. He liked the text, but the Parliament had never heard those words used before. Speaking of the nuclear freeze, hysterical calls in Europe for a freeze of nuclear weapons had begun. Reagan approached the results in the first ever reduction of nuclear arsenals. Reagan's straightforward words challenged the Soviet Union's cruel representation and helped to inspire the end of a totalitarianism nightmare. He spoke of keeping America strong and free while we negotiate real and virtual reductions in the world's nuclear and arsenal. One day, with God's help, maybe there will be a total elimination of nuclear war. Reagan also spoke of evil rulings. He spoke of a study done in Washington, D.C., in which showed Americans to be more religious than most other nations. He also stated that approximately 95% of U.S. citizens believe in God. A huge portion of them believe in the Ten Commandments and feel prayer in schools should be allowed, abortion should be outlawed, and nuclear war is unacceptable. America is in the midst of a spiritual awakening and a moral renewal, and with your biblical keynote, I say today, yes, let justice roll on like a righteous river and like a never-failing stream, is the statement that Reagan made to reel in his audience. On another note, the topic of abortion, which is very controversial, was spoke of. He said, for the first time, Congress is addressing the prayer and the abortion issues and is openly discussing them. The vow to continue to fight for the rights of an unborn fetus until proven that it is no longer a living entity is something that he vowed to do as our president. In 1973, a law to protect the Handicapped Society was put in place after a handicapped infant was starved to death. Toll-free numbers were also put in place to help report any form of abuse or neglect like this. Reagan also spoke of the facts that Planned Parenthood is treating minor girls without parental consent in abortions and Plan B pills. This is something that Reagan spoke highly of that he wanted to change. As Reagan goes on to discuss all of the evil entities, he also tells us that we have the power to change our world, to change our freedom, and make a new world for our future. As a closing statement, one of our founding fathers, Thomas Paine, was also quoted in Reagan's speech. As he said, we have it within our power to begin the world over again. We can do it, doing together what no church could do by itself. And with this speech, Reagan reached out to his fellow Americans to bring peace and justice to America and rid us of an evil doing.